You mentioned something about slavery and how this wouldn't get it done and that wouldn't get done. You know, slavery was going to require a war anyway, but it's a hard question to answer. I mean, under a referendum or initiative or whatever you want to call it. I mean, if we had a direct democracy, slavery might have been a loser. You know, we might have the slave states might have had the population. You know, so. The minority was right in that case, and representative government worked. And you asked to give examples of when representative government worked. Like I said, I would radically reform the representation we have. It's not true representation. It's party government. All right, we are run by two political parties. All right, so yes, until you abolish those parties, this is not representative government. Until you abolish the geographic bias in elections, this is not representative government. So it's kind of a stupid argument to be saying, you know, name what representative government's accomplished when we really don't have it. Okay, we have a very closed and narrow system that needs improving. But I would still argue there's lots of things that government has accomplished. We landed on the moon, we built the Hoover Dam, we gave women the right to vote, we abolished slavery. I mean, there are a lot of things accomplished. The Civil Rights Act, I mean, a lot of things happened that might not have happened if it was put to a referendum. Okay, I'm not supporting the war on drugs. That was a big issue, but like I said, you're not gonna fix that issue with an initiative. You might in some local district, but national federal law isn't going to change, and that's what needs to change. I mean, rights have to be rights of all Americans. I mean, and I believe that in principle. I don't want rights that I get and somebody in some other state doesn't get. That's bullshit. I mean, we either fight for rights. It's the same with labor and unions and all that stuff. I don't want separate unions. I want all workers to have rights. Okay, I don't want them to have to belong to a union to get them. And I don't want unions with very niche power abusing that power to get special privileges. All right, you're saying again, you keep talking freedom, like somehow initiative is freedom. Like I said, I don't want the freedom of having people lesser than myself making decisions. Yeah, I do believe I'm smarter than the average American, so I wasn't insulting myself by insulting the average American. I think the average American is an idiot, okay, ill-informed idiot. So yeah, I don't include myself among the average. I believe I'm above average in terms of my how well informed I am, and by raw intelligence, whatever standard you want to make. I just think I'm infinitely more intelligent than most human beings on planet Earth. That's if the truth be told. How much time? Oh, way over fucking time. I don't know how the hell I did that. I don't want to have to make two parts, but shit, that's way over. Alright, well maybe I'll just do two parts, fuck it. A little short second part. Yeah, so I don't have that much left on the piece of paper. Alright, again, the legislation having to be simple. This is the key fundamental problem I have with this idea of government by initiative. Is law can't be that simple. It's always complex. I mean, it's like having, well, yeah, we'll just make the speed limit 30 miles an hour or 40 miles an hour on all roads. No, each road has an individual circumstance, got to be dealt with. You know, no matter what kind of law you come up with, it has consequences, and there has to be balances against those consequences. And so when you just write something too simple, it's like the property tax thing in California, it just turned into garbage. Okay, because it just became a huge way for people to dodge their property taxes, and a huge expense on people who didn't have the same advantages. So it just created huge inequities in the system because the law is too simplistic. And so I don't want people writing simple law. I don't want laws that are contrived by political parties to, you know, serve special interest either. And I don't think those are the only two choices. I think there is a better middle ground where you know, legislation is written by people sincerely motivated to do what's in the best interest of society. All right. Usually I've got this stuff in my head, but I did this earlier, so I have to read my own notes, which is really a bitch. So, you know, I'll just give the example in this state. You know, everybody was clamoring about property taxes being too high. property tax is too high. So it wasn't an initiative, but it was almost the same thing because there was such an outcry about it. And so what did they do? They come up with some kind of simple solution. And what the simple solution was is they passed the sales tax and then subsidized property taxes with a sales tax, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The same shit is getting paid for, and now it's even a step removed from the people actually causing the expense. So instead of these local governments and local school boards being held responsible for their decisions, the decision, that effect gets, thrown off to some state that doesn't have anything to do with that local decision. And that local expense, the burden being created. So that doesn't make any sense at all, and it's completely regressive instead of progressive tax. So on every level, it was a step backward, and yet it shut everybody up because they said, "Oh, I'm getting property tax relief." It just didn't make any sense. All right, so that's probably enough. Sorry about the 2 parts. Blah blah blah. Till the next time, but I really, like I said, this argument really can't go anywhere. I mean, if you're glued to this idea of direct democracy, it's not something you're going to convince me is a good idea, because I think there are better solutions. I want a better solution. I want something better than ignorant people voting on individual pieces of legislation based on their momentary, at the, whatever the media is clamoring about at the moment kind of policy. You need something that's a little slower and a little smarter, and you get that through having representatives, because it's going to act slower, it's going to force a compromise, there's going to have to be debate, there's going to be so much more to the process than having just some knee-jerk reactionary public reaction.